I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow.
Now turn to section 1.
In this section, you'll hear a conversation between David and Claudia about their holiday trip. First, you have some time to read questions 1 to 5. Now listen to the conversation and answer questions 1 to 5. Well, Claudia, our first semester at university is almost over. I can't wait for the holidays.
Oh, me too. Why don't we go somewhere far away and forget about lectures and essays and all that hard work?
Sounds good to me. How about if we go to the coast? It would be great to do some swimming and surfing.
The coast would be good, but let's look at our other options. There are the mountains. They're nice and cool at this time of year. There's also the desert, which I really enjoyed last year.
What about going to Sydney? I've never been there, and they say it's a great city to visit.
Well, I agree. Sydney would be good, but there are too many tourists there at this time of year, and I'd rather get away from buildings and cars. I vote for the mountains.
All right, then, let's do that. Now, we have to decide where we're going to stay and how we're going to get there. Any suggestions?
Well, for places to stay, there are the usual places, motels, hotels, and youth hostels. We can go camping too.
I'm afraid I'm not a very good camper. I tend to feel a bit frightened sleeping outdoors.
All right, we'll forget about camping. So, what do you prefer?
Well, since neither of us has a lot of money, I don't think a hotel or motel would be possible. How about a youth hostel?
Oh, I'd rather not go to a youth hostel. They're cramped and noisy, and the person in the bed next to you might be a snorer. No, I think we should find a small holiday house to rent, and if we get a few more friends to join us, it will be really cheap.
Okay. You know, it's the first time for me to travel to the mountains. What do you suggest to take? Mosquito net, I guess.
Mosquito net is useful, but I don't want to add more weight to our luggage. So the insect repellent can do, I think. Besides, aspirins are necessary and some cold cure, in case we feel sick or something like this.
Do you think we need binoculars and a camera?
Well, it would be a good idea to take binoculars. As to a camera, I'm not very for it. I'd rather record the scenes in my mind.
You're right. What about the money? How much do you think is enough, and how we should take it?
I've learned from a friend about the cost. He told me that they spent about $480 for 1 week's tour, so I think $500 would be enough. We may need over $300 for the house. Have you got any traveller's checks?
No, I haven't, but I've got a credit card and a saving card.
Then take the credit cards with us. It would be more convenient to pay the house fees with a credit card.
Before the rest of the conversation, you have some time to read questions 6 to 10. Now listen carefully to the rest of the conversation and answer questions 6 to 10. Oh, I nearly forgot the date. How long will we have before we have to be back here on campus?
Under a week, I think. We'll leave on the 14th of April and come back on the 21st, because you know we'll start to study on the 22nd.
Do you know the definite locations of some holiday houses? I suppose it would be nice if we book in advance.
Yes. Look at this brochure here. It says that there are several holiday houses near the mountains. I prefer the one near the woods. It's situated right across the road from the rainforest park.
That sounds good. We can easily go to the rainforest park then. Do you know what else we can do there besides visiting the park?
I know that many people go there for bushwalking, but you need a good pair of walking boots, of course.
Are there any dangers in the bushes? I'm a little frightened.
In fact, there's no need to be nervous of the bushes, provided that you treat it with respect and common sense. Most of the animals and wildlife are gentle and harmless. There are venomous snakes to be aware of, but really they're much more frightened of you than you are of them. The other thing is that certain plants can cause irritation if you touch them with bare skin.
I see. Well, I can't wait for the coming holiday. That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Section 2. You will soon hear an informative talk given by Michelle on how to keep out burglars and keep your home safe. Before you listen, you have a chance to read questions 11 to 16. As you listen to the first part of the talk, answer questions 11 to 16.
Keep 'em out. There's no fail-proof way to keep out a burglar, but every little bit of deterrence helps. Even if you can't afford a security system, you can take a few minutes to make your home a little safer. Some relatively simple steps will greatly decrease the odds of a break-in, which means you can enjoy a bit more peace of mind. And isn't that what home is all about? Think like a burglar. If you were one, how would you get into your home? Evaluate your home from the inside and out, night and day. You might even try a mock break-in, trying window jams and loose locks on your house's perimeter. To keep out a burglar, the first thing to do is to secure the windows. Though windows are relatively easy to break, the loud noise of shattering glass will deter a thief if you're near other houses. Don't leave windows open during the night, whether you're at home or away. That's a common sense precaution, but a surprising number of people forget to do just that. Use a pick-proof locking device for your windows. Make sure the frames are solid. If you're beyond the earshot of your neighbours, they won't hear the glass breaking. Consider installing a plexiglass sheet for the more accessible windows. This will make entry through them more difficult. Your doors should also be secured. If you don't have a peephole, install one in the front door. If you have one, make sure that you and your family are in the habit of using it. Don't open the door to anyone you don't know, especially at night. If the peephole is out of reach of your children, keep a stepladder or stepping box by the door for them to use. If there's any glass within 2 feet of your front door lock, consider a locking device that would be out of reach if the glass is broken. Now, a few tips on how to protect your valuables. Don't leave your valuables, stereo, computer, jewellery, etc., where they can be seen from the window. If you don't want to hide everything from sight, consider blinds. Make a valuables inventory. Keep a record of your expensive and personally significant items, not just a listing, but a photographic or videotape record if possible. Store this inventory at another location. This is helpful for both the police and the insurance agency to identify the stolen goods. Use an engraving pen to mark these items with some kind of personal identifying information, such as your initials, in an inconspicuous place. This also helps record your possessions in case of any other mishap, such as fire or flood.
Now look at questions 17 to 20. As the talk continues, answer questions 17 to 20.
Don't stop your security awareness at the outside walls of your house. Your yard areas, if any, also deserve your attention. In general, don't leave anything around the yard that might help a burglar get into your house. Ladders, stackable boxes, or any garden tools should be put away, preferably in a locked cabinet. Install a light in your yard that is sensitive to movement. Place it high and out of reach. Trim hedges or bushes that are near doors or windows. These can be good hiding places. Don't place outdoor furniture tables nearby the house. These could become an easy stepladder to the roof. When you are on vacation, create the occupancy illusion. Maybe you laughed at your mother for leaving the lights on and the radio playing while she left for vacation, but she had the right idea. Those steps aren't quite enough, so try these strategies. Buy electronic timers that turn lights on and off at different times. Hook up a timer to your TV for a few hours each evening. Turn up the volume too. Not enough to annoy the neighbours, just enough that a lurker at the windowsill couldn't miss hearing it. Have your newspaper and mail delivery suspended. If you don't have time to do this, ask a neighbour to pick them up for you. Ask a neighbour to park in your driveway or parking place. Think about having someone house-sit your home. If it's a relative or friend, it may cost you no more than the contents of your refrigerator. You can also find professional house-sitters or house-sitting services that find someone to stay while you're away. Leave your shades as they are normally, or at least don't close up every one. One sign of a vacant house is closed shades during the day. Lock your garage door with a padlock.
That is the end of section 2. You will have half a minute to check your answers.
Section 3.
You are going to hear an introduction to the facilities and regulations of the main university library. You will hear 3 different speakers describe different aspects of the library.
First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 24. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
Hello, my name's John Giles. It's good to see you all here for this part of your orientation to the university. Libraries can be complicated and frightening places for new students, and my job's to make you feel welcome, show you how you can find your way around, and introduce you to people who can give you further information and advice about using the library. I'll give you a general introduction to the printed materials. Then Susie, who you will meet in a few minutes, will talk about our multimedia services. And finally, Jonathan Freeland, our head librarian, will outline the rules and regulations you must observe as library users. First, though, on behalf of my colleagues and myself, I want you to know that we are all at your service. Unlike many libraries, we insist that all our librarians have an additional qualification in at least one of the subjects taught in the university. You will find librarians who are specialists in science, social sciences and humanities. Most of our staff are also currently doing research and thus up to date with the periodical and internet literature, as well as the books. The second advantage we enjoy here is that all our books and periodicals are available from this building. Some of them have to be ordered from our underground stores, known as the stacks. But you don't have to visit more than one building to find the materials you need. This is because we are purpose-built. Now, how do you find your way around? As you no doubt saw in the entrance hall, there is a plan of the library showing you where the books and periodicals can be found for any particular subject. We keep the books and periodicals for each subject on the same floor, so for instance, environmental sciences are colour-coded green and are housed on the ground floor towards the front. Geography is colour-coded brown and can be found on the ground floor towards the back of the building. Each room is organised on the same plan. Reference books, which cannot be taken out of the library, are found at the far end of each room, near the librarian's desk, or station as we call it. Next to them, on the right, are periodicals for the last 2 years. The rest of the shelves contain general books on the subject. These can be borrowed. Lastly, the domestic arrangements. Seating.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 25 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 25 to 30.
The library is of two kinds: rectangular tables for up to 6 people and individual study booths known as carols. No, not Christmas carols. At every seat there is a PowerPoint for a laptop computer. There is also a panel which lights up to tell you when a book you have ordered is ready for collection from the librarian's desk. After all that hard work, you'll be ready for something to eat. And there are slot machines on every floor where you can buy food and drink. In the basement is a cafeteria where you can order fast food such as pizza, hamburgers, and also fish and chips, salad and fruit. You mustn't bring food and drink into the reading rooms though. Here's Susie Wallace to tell you about the high-tech facilities of the library.
Thanks, John. Don't worry, this isn't going to require a degree in systems engineering to get the hang of. Anyway, with computers and audio systems, the best way to learn is by doing. But here's a few tips to get you started. If there's anything else you want to know, each piece of equipment has a manual explaining how to use it, and either I or Elaine, my very capable assistant, will be on hand to get you sorted out. First off, I'd like you all to follow me over to the Multimedia Centre. You have to come through this room to get to it in any case. Then gather round and I'll talk about each piece of equipment as we get to it. Right, here we are. Now, The Multimedia Centre, or MMC for short, houses all the computer facilities you'll need for your degree studies and your language learning. Many of you are studying electronics or similar subjects. We have terrific facilities for learning CAD, Computer Aided Design, for you non-technies. Some leading companies have donated equipment and state-of-the-art software packages. That's a spin-off from our thriving Industry Links programme. Many of you will be going on for your job experience. But to get back to the point, we have 44 PC terminals and 6 Macs. The Macs are loaded with fantastic software for you, art and design and textile design students. Over here, you can see our 2 widescreen TV monitors. They can receive broadcasts in most Asian and European languages, as well as English. For English language news, we encourage you to use the Student Union TV room, so that those who are learning other languages can use these. Some useful broadcasts come at awkward times, so if you get a note from your academic advisor on a form we'll give you, we can tape up to 2 hours a week for you. In a moment, I leave you to explore on your own, but here's our head librarian to say a brief word about library regulations.
Good morning. I'm sorry to sound like a police officer, but there are a few rules we all need to observe for the benefit of everybody. Courtesy to staff and other library users comes high up the list. Second, the security and safekeeping of materials is essential. All library items are electronically tagged. If the beeper goes off as you leave, you must return to the checkout desk. You are not allowed to bring any bags, packages, or outdoor clothing into the reading rooms. You must leave them in the lockers outside in the corridor. You must take reasonable care of library materials while they are in your possession and return them within 2 weeks of borrowing them. Failure to return them on time without a good reason will result in a fine. When you register to join the library, you will get a copy of the full rules and you must sign this to say that you obey them.
That is the end of section 3. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Section 4. In this section, you will hear a report about crime and punishment in the UK. First, read questions 31 to 40. Listen to the report and answer questions 31 to 40.
Like many other countries, Britain has experienced a great increase in criminal activity of nearly every kind. Nearly 5 times as many acts of violence were reported to the police in 1997 as 20 years before. Although most burglars are not caught, those who are caught overload the courts and prisons. Although the courts try, in theory at least, to use probation, community service, and other devices to avoid sentencing people to prison. The 50,000 people in prison are more in proportion to the population than in any other Western European countries. Vast sums are being spent on building new prisons, but the prisons are still overcrowded, and the humiliation suffered by their inmates makes rehabilitation difficult. Many prisoners are released early on parole. The prisons in England are run by the Home Office, though each prison has a local board of visitors who make reports about conditions and also deal with serious bad behaviour. Normally, prisoners are released after serving 2/3 or less of the time for which they were sentenced. But an offence in prison may be punished by the loss of some days of remission. There are several kinds of prisons, including open ones, and some prisoners go out to work in groups outside. Prisoners who want to study for examinations are helped to do so, and there are training courses in prisons. But in practice, some spend little time outside their cells. Most crime is committed by young males, and is opportunist and is not planned by hardened professional criminals, although these do exist in most common people's view. Crime tends to be concentrated in large cities and urban areas. About 94% of offences recorded by the police in England and Wales are directed against property, but only 5% involve violence. Rising affluence has provided more opportunities for casual property crime. In 1977, for example, car crime was only 1/10 of total crime, but this has risen to about 28%. The demand for and supply of illegal drugs had been an increasing factor in the incidence of crime in recent years. Regular crime surveys are undertaken in England and Wales, Scotland and in Northern Ireland. In 1999, a survey in England and Wales asked respondents for information about how crime had affected them in 1998. It estimated a total of 15 million crimes in 1998, the majority of which were against property. Violent crime accounted for only 5% of the total, while 36% involved vehicles, 9% were burglaries, and 30% other forms of theft. These surveys, the fifth of which is in progress, indicate that many crimes go unrecorded by the police, mainly because not all victims report them.
That is the end of section 4. You will have half a minute to check your answers.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna